myself personally, I find it a bit exciting, like where Dad started the fishery, and it's something new.
Right now, we can brag that our product is landed at the wharf, flipping, lively, it's fresh, it's beautiful, and perfect.
Can I see? Can I see?
Sure.
Can I see? Oh, that's awesome.
Hello, I'm Tom Murphy. Welcome to Land and Sea. The collapse of the cod fishery 25 years ago ended a way of life for thousands. But one fisherman in a small Nova Scotia community refused to give up. He believed the sea had more to give. And thanks to him, a new fishery was born. The road is beautiful, long, and lonely. In winter, it can be treacherous. At the end of the road, Canso. For more than 400 years, fishermen have eked out a living from the sea. In the 1980s, a modern fish plant fed by offshore trawlers gave work to hundreds of men and women. But the crash of the fish stocks meant an end to that prosperity. The people of Canso fought hard to keep their plant open, but gradually the dragger fleet was sold. By the late 90s, where the million-dollar fish plant once stood, an empty lot. All that was left was a small inshore lobster fishery. It wasn't enough. But one man thought there might be room for a new approach. On a bitterly cold day in February, when most people choose to be indoors, Alan Newell's on the water, keeping a dream alive.
When you're moving around, you don't really notice it that much. Your feet may get a little bit cold, but typically you don't mind the weather that bad. But the ice conditions can be a little bit unnerving at times when you do get a lot of ice buildup.
Alan Newell is one of 13 fishermen who ply the waters of Chedabucto Bay in small boats in winter. They have a quota of 700,000 pounds of shrimp, and at $1.20 a pound, it's worth almost $1 million, all within sight of land.
If we leave early, we're in by 10 o'clock, so it's a 4-hour day. You still have the rest of the day to spend with children, wife, extra activities, so and you can earn a decent living at it.
It's a big boost for a small community. But originally, only one person ever imagined that potential. Alan's late father, Mike.
It all started with a thought that my father had, and it came to him when he was a boy, and he heard stories of shrimp being caught here in Chedabucto Bay by some of the fishermen that were fishing for ground fish. So once the collapse of the ground fishery came about, he started thinking of other methods to supplement the fishermen's income.
When one door closed, another opened. With the cod gone, the shrimp can begin to multiply. According to Alan, his father saw an opportunity.
His dream was to provide something not only for the community, but for his family as well. He was hoping to leave a legacy for the community and something that would be there for future generations.
At first, Mike Newell hoped they could fish the shrimp with modified lobster traps. Most of the inshore fishermen had a lobster license, but it was a spring fishery and there wasn't much money in it. A winter fishery could supplement their livelihood.
So he wanted something that was easy to get into and something that the fishermen were familiar with. And if they were familiar with a lobster trap, something along those lines would be something they'd be comfortable with.
Most fishermen in Nova Scotia are comfortable with traps. The Newells experimented with lobster traps for shrimp by lining it with mesh.
They caught a huge variety of shrimp from all stages and life cycles. However, the marketing side of it, they were smaller shrimp and they weren't that great for a dinner plate.
These traps are for shrimp. They let the undersized ones escape. Part of the dream Mike Newell shared with his son, the dream of a sustainable fishery. No drag nets or gear that would scoop up vast quantities of sea life or gouge the sea bottom.
Our traps, they just settle on the bottom, and the smaller shrimp have the opportunity to get out and reproduce and hopefully be there to contribute to the life cycle of the shrimp. And hopefully they'll be there once they get older and provide a market for us as well.
First, Mike Newell had to get government approval. That wouldn't be easy.
Shrimp?
Shrimp.
Okay.
Ginny Boudreau runs the Guysborough County Inshore Fishermen's Association. She says Mike Newell was determined there'd be no mistakes with this stock.
When was it there? How much of it was there? The sizes, the counts, how was it interacting with the other species? He worked with the biologists at DFO to collect data for them, and at the same time, in his other hat, he was working, to develop an actual fishery.
9801 to 10,050.
We've looked after ourselves because we've had to. And if you wanted something done, such as a fishery developed, you best get out there and do it yourself, because someone else is not going to come in and develop it for you. And then, if they do, they're not handing it over.
The Department of Fisheries and Oceans finally approved the small boat winter fishery thanks to Mike Newell's data.
He developed the fishery. He could have taken ownership of it himself. He didn't do that. That's not Mike. It's not, never, most of what he did was for other people and for the community or the industry itself.
Catching the shrimp was one thing, getting it to market was another. Eating fresh-caught shrimp isn't common in coastal communities.
When we first started the shrimp fishery, we tried peddling the shrimp on the sides of the road and taking them to various restaurants, but a lot of people weren't familiar with it. Unfortunately, we can bring them to the wharf fresh and alive. However, in transportation, like shrimp are not they don't have a long shelf life.
But father and son keep at it, convinced they would see the day when it would be a fully developed fishery. Unfortunately, fate had something else in store for Mike Newell. We're back in Canso, Nova Scotia. It's 2006, and the new vision for a small boat shrimp fishery is still in its infancy.
It was coming on to the Christmas season, and generally Dad would try to provide shrimp for family members. So he took it upon himself. He went out one day, well, December the 1st, he went out, and he went out by himself, and he was, I assume, going to get some shrimp to store for some family members. And then, just coming on dark, my mom had called, and she had said that my father had left. He had went out. She assumed to check some shrimp gear, and he hadn't returned, and you could hear concern in her voice.
It's a story as old as fishing itself. Mike Newell's body was found the next day on a small island, less than 10 minutes from his home. Alan believes he got tangled in the lines of the shrimp traps and was pulled overboard.
We weren't only father and son, but we were business partners, we were friends, and we discussed a lot of our hopes and our thoughts in the fishing industry, along with children and life in general. So it was a big undertaking for my mom as well as myself. to try and fill somewhat of the shoes that he had had.
Filling those shoes meant keeping a promise to try to fulfill his father's dream of a winter shrimp fishery. In the meantime, Alan kept fishing, this time with his mother Kathy by his side.
It was great to have somebody, again, that you could run ideas by or run thoughts of where the direction the fishery should head with. And she was on the boat and went tuna fishing and shrimp fishing and lobster fishing. So she was filling in the role that I think for most part was to help me along as well.
So life carried on, despite the big hole Mike's death left at the heart of the Newell family. But for several years, there's no shrimp fishery. The local market is too small and the price too low. Canso shrimp fishermen face competition from several sources. Draggers, like these ones off Labrador, catch thousands of tons of shrimp to be frozen and shipped to world markets. Other species are grown in farms throughout Asia. The large supply keeps the price down. The small boat fishermen can't compete. Finally, they find a processor in Pictou, about 3 hours' drive from Canso. The shrimp are washed, peeled, and graded before they're packed and frozen for export. Paul Logan is the owner of North Nova Seafoods.
This winter has been mainly the eastern United States. It's been going with the peel product, but 2 years ago we did a lot. We did all of it we shipped to Asia. Went over to Japan and we sent some into China, some into Thailand.
The price he pays to the fishermen makes it worthwhile to stay in Nova Scotia to fish during the winter. It can be an empty time of year on the East Coast. Thousands of people leave to work. Many don't return. It's an exodus that hollows out small towns like Canso. At the Guysborough County Fishermen's Association, Executive Director Ginny Boudreau says the winter shrimp fishery is crucial for the industry and the community.
One supports the other. You're not tied to a single species. That means all your income is coming at one pot. If you can spread it out both species-wise and time-wise, it means more time on the water. It means you're not tied to unemployment insurance or some, that type. You can provide your crew with more hours, more income, so you don't have to worry about competing with other industries to lose your crew.
In 2010, Alan Newell and his mother Kathy were fishing partners. They still missed his father, but things were going well.
Dad was the more quiet, thought type of person, put a lot of thought into things. My mom was the sparkle, the one that would joke and carry on and cheer people up.
But one day, Kathy headed down the twisting Canso Road for a meeting in a nearby town. She died when her car left the road. Mike and Kathy Newell's house sits empty now. Their kids maintain it and heat it, ready for the day when some other family member may wish to live here.
It's not the same as it used to be. And it sounds ironic. You don't want to hear the quietness, but that old saying, silence is deafening. So it's a pretty lonely place these days.
Alan has his dad's boat now, the Old Sock. He works with crewman Troy Delory, and he's built a good life from the waters off Canso. But he has one more step to take on his journey to develop the shrimp fishery. We'll have that chapter when we come back. For the past 2 winters, almost 750,000 pounds of Shettibucto Bay shrimp are processed in Nova Scotia. All of it is exported, frozen, to the U.S. That's good for the fishermen and processors. But the Newells always thought local shoppers were missing out on a good thing. Alan Newell's on his way to Halifax. He wants to test a new market in the city for his shrimp, fresh out of the water this morning.
It's quite difficult. We're quite a distance away, and it's something that's going to take time to build. It's small markets, but eventually it may lead into more consumers eating them, and it provides some long-term stability for our fishery.
Newell's destination? A small grocery in downtown Halifax, specializing in local foods produced in an environmentally friendly way. Hannah Nelson rents space for a fish counter here, a tiny business with a big reach. She won't carry fish raised in ocean cages near the coastline or caught in big nets that drag the ocean floor. Her fish counter is stocked with trout grown in tanks on land, line-caught haddock, and sea urchins picked off the ocean floor by divers. All methods deemed sustainable, a philosophy into which she's invested a lot of time, money, and effort.
I'm young, maybe, and interested in making sure that we have fish around for my children. I mean, I think the way that my generation has grown up, we've been more interested in questions of sustainability, of where we're getting the things that we eat, the things that we wear, and that's been one of the drivers for me.
No, I've never dealt with Hannah, but from what I understand, she's trying to strive for the same things. It's kind of what Dad had envisioned. So if I can provide some of the product and she gets to see them for herself, and maybe her customers get to see them, it can only be a good thing.
Hi!
Hello.
Hannah.
Alan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Can I see? Can I see?
Sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So these guys are alive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
For his first delivery, there's 30 pounds of shrimp. Nelson will pay Alan $3 a pound and sell it retail for $6 a pound. They won't keep long like this.
I was saying goodbye. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
What Hannah doesn't sell in the first 24 hours, she'll have to cook or freeze for sale. So word of mouth on social media brings in buyers like Bruce Bottomley. He developed a taste for raw seafood in Japan. He can't wait to try these.
That's incredible. Oh, it's really sweet.
He takes 3 pounds. They don't know when the next shipment will be. The fishermen can only send a small amount at a time because they're under contract to supply the bulk of it for processing. And Nelson doesn't know how much of a demand there will be in the store. It'll take time to find a formula that's right for everyone. Not all the shrimp leave Canso.
How many do you think you're going to need, Jay? Just a couple?
Back home, Alan and his wife Michelle and their 3 children enjoy a veritable banquet. It's not something Alan ever imagined serving his kids.
She wants to open her own restaurant. But she said her father has to cook at it. Her father has to work at it.
The fish.
Oh, he has
to catch the
That's
shrimp
right.
and then peel them.
The family has sustained him through the losses of the past, providing inspiration and guidance he once drew from his parents.
And I get a lot of feedback from my family now as well. My wife and children, they're very encouraging. So they're trying to fill that role as well. And so it takes a lot of input to help you out in a time of need, in a time of despair, I guess. So it's been a real tough road, but it's part of life, and you have to adjust and try to get through it, I guess.
Alan Newell hopes now the Canso shrimp fishery is on a firm footing. As long as there's a processor to take the shrimp at a good price, the fishermen will catch it, always with one eye to the weather. Alan's determined to get fresh shrimp to local markets around the Maritimes.
I know that Dad would be excited about those types of things. And I passed the island every day that he passed away on. So thoughts always come into your mind daily while you're out there on the water.
So far, the one constant in the story of the Newell family is a belief in the future and a son's commitment to his father's dream.
You always get that sense that you are doing things that they would approve of. You would just wish that you would have that hand on your shoulder at times to say you're doing a good job or you're doing great.